Charles Bukowski was always considered as a misanthropic writer, but my goal is to present this writer in every respect, not only for those he is known. I don't want to sanctify a man famous for his exaggerations, also written in his books, but my purpose here is to show you his soul, hidden behind the mask he himself created. As we read Bukowski's books, we may have the false impression of a writer who only cares about sex and alcohol, but behind this tough guy mask, which he used to shield himself from society, we may find a sane and fragile soul. Bukowski, in fact, had a troublesome childhood. He moved to Los Angeles when only a child, and the beginning of his new life was surely not one of the best. He was constantly mocked by the other kids because of his German origins, other than his aspects. It didn't help to have a violent father either. Therefore, we could not justify, but at least understand, why he created his own world to feel safe, and why he sunk himself into alcohol, which could be easily obtained because of acne that made him look older. When he was 21 years old, he decided to leave his home after a fight with his father. This new situation helped him to better understand the true American reality. His work was composed by terrible rented rooms and occasional jobs, which allowed him to barely survive. His only desire was to write, and all he needed was the head of a pencil and the sides of an old newspaper. He kept some time to write. His only source of inspiration was himself and what happened to him. Even when convicted for loitering and drunken disorderly, he takes the best out of the situation, gaining inspiration to write. Bukowski doesn't write only novels. Sometimes he writes poems too, which are a small collection of his thoughts and confessions. It is in his poems that he lowers his defenses and writes directly to his reader, as if it was his best friend. His wandering sees an end at the beginning of the 50s. He accepts a full-time job at the post office. A new book comes out from this experience, Post Office, which gave us a better view of how he perceived the world. His attitude is always the same, a person who mocks and makes fun of everyone and everything. It was of crucial importance to him to keep his distance from every cultural, political, and literary movement. A common mistake while reading his books could be the one of thinking about him as a Nazi or a racist. What if rights only serve him to fortify his mask against the world, not to fortify an ideology? Bukowski clearly never loved to roll with the mass. In fact, he loved to mock all of those who followed blindly a useful ideology. Many women had an important role in Bukowski's life. He put them all together in a book called Women that is about his love misadventures. Bukowski will be accused to be a misogynist and to have little or no respect toward women at all. In his defense, I can say that he had no respect not only for women but for everyone, including himself. Only two women were able to break Bukowski's defense: his daughter Marina and the last woman of his life, Linda King. Linda made something nobody thought to be possible, made Bukowski feel part of something else apart from himself. In fact, he always hated the idea of being part of anything. An example of this could be his supposed association with the beatnik literary movement. According to Bukowski, it was part of that movement only when it didn't exist yet. He declared many times to have reached some conclusion with his own thoughts and not adopted them only to be part of some trendy movement. He was a rebel who doesn't want to be enlisted anywhere. He is an outcast who does not write to the high-class society of intellectuals and doesn't use slogans or keywords. He doesn't want to change the whole world, only his own world, and he strongly believes that in order to do so, he must not allow himself to become like everyone else. Bukowski considers himself a writer of emotions, not politics or culture. His works are about the survival of feelings in a decaying world where people are often cruel. He doesn't attack other writers of the beatnik movement, but those who prefer style and fancy literature over common thematic, written with the heart that could be shared by everyone. This conviction of him led him to have a very restricted number of followers in the United States, but thanks to Karl Weissner, his German translator and European distributor, Bukowski had an enormous success in Europe. After traveling through Europe, he wrote a book called Shakespeare Never Did This, in which he wrote about his experience in his motherland. Due to the success in Europe, some of his books were made into movies. The European success brings him under a new light in the United States too, even if the United States that Bukowski wrote about is significantly different from what Hollywood broadcasted, and this is not enough to make him an anti-American. As we cannot describe Bukowski only as the drunk writer, we may not describe an enormous country as the United States following a cliché. The enormous success in Europe led Bukowski finally out of poverty that marked him for all those years, and he was finally able to focus on writing wholly. He was forced to change his new works to his new lifestyle. Sometimes some nostalgia for his whole life kicks in, but he doesn't complain about his new economical situation. Only his health problems makes him tremble a bit. He had tuberculosis but not fear of dying, and whether he had or not is unknown, for he never spoke about it. After a long chemotherapy session, he died the 9th of March 1994. After his departure, his words were finally able to hit harder. His words were studied more diligently, and some aspects of his work that were never considered were finally understood. There was more Bukowski behind his tough guy's mask than in front of it. In conclusion, I would like to say that he was a complex writer, but despite his many flaws and his countless disrespectful considerations toward everybody, I cannot justify all his ideas. But what readers loved about him was his frankness and honesty, because he was never too shy in expressing his opinions, even when they could be misunderstood, and most of all, what strikes about him is the desire to remain true to himself but not following any kind of movement.